All right. What happens on the Wolverine single sideband net can stay here, I guess. Yeah. Until the picnic, anyway. KE8AVT, Harold in Waterford, you're up, and stand by. Eric, RNA.
This is Harold, KE8AVT. Well, it's kind of a weird one. I did have a crush on a girl, but she lived in the house right behind me. And we used to hang out a lot, and we had a great big swing here in the yard, so we'd take turns swinging, and a couple times I'd sit in the thing, and then I had her come in the other way, and we'd swing together, and she was doing pretty good, and she was hanging out with somebody else, and I got over there one day, and she says, "I'm pregnant." And the next thing I know, her dad found out who got her pregnant, and took it out to the church and married him off and changed the locks on the door of the house. So she was gone, and I had one other one that met in junior high, and we kind of hung out once or twice together, and I didn't do much with the dancing because I got 2 left feet, but I kind of lost track of her, and I happened to be out at the church one day, and I had just gotten back out of the Navy for my 2 years, and she comes walking through and carrying a big dress container, and come to find out she was getting married that night at the church, so both of them kind of walked out on me. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Rusty. WB8VOW, KE8AVT.
All right, KE8AVT, WB8VOW. Well, listen, there's a lot of things worse than the bachelor's life, and that's the married guy's miserable life. If you happen to be a married guy who's miserable, but man, yeah, the ones who got away. Sometimes I think there's a country song. Let's see, who was it that did that? I thank God for unanswered prayers. And it was about the guy meeting somebody who he really thought he wanted to marry. And it was a few years after that. And I'm trying to think, Tim McGraw sang it, but it's a very poignant song, and it definitely resonates with me, especially with one particular girl. All right, let's go down the list. I'll tell you what, let's take a quick standby before we go and pick Eric up in Blanchardville. Let's take a standby and see if anybody'd like to get on the list here. This is the Wolverine Single Sideband Net, and we're taking check-ins.
Whiskey 8 Kilo Sierra.
Hey, you sound good today. W8KS got you in at 27. Anybody else? No voices in my head. Let's go to KD9RNA. Mr. Sunday Night does a great job for us as the net host and member number 597, way over in Blanchardville. Let's see how I can copy you there. Go ahead and pick it up, Eric, and stand by, son of a Buckeye.
WB8VOW, this is KD9RNA. Hopefully I'm getting over there tonight, Rusty. And, well, let me see. Pretty good day today. Sunny and 78 degrees. Still got the brush pile burning. Let me see. I grew up on a farm 14 miles from town. I didn't have transportation, and when I did actually get transportation, I started working full time after high school. So I never really had much time for girls or crushes. So beyond Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels, I really didn't have a crush on anybody until I met Diane, and I knew about 10 minutes after I met her that I was going to marry her. So my first crush was my first love, is my first and only marriage, and that's what I got for you, Rusty. Have a great evening, great list, and fun topic. Enjoy it, and I'll send it back over to you. WB8VOW, this is KD9RNA. Back to net.
KD9RNA, WB8VOW. Well, you done good. I love your Diane. She's a sweetheart, and you did a good job of hanging on and waiting for the right one for sure. So that's awesome. What a great story. I want to hear her side of it sometime too. Maybe at the next picnic. Well, hey, have a great night. And yeah, you were 5 over. Wisconsin exists again. It rose out of the static, and man, you were good copy there, Eric. Thanks for popping in here. All right, let's pick up N8SOB. That'd be Mr. Sean living in Fort Gratiot there, member number 584. Come on in, and Mr. Monday night, he was giving away awards, radios, and antennas, and what else can I lie about here? Go ahead, Sean. Stand by, JJM.
Hey, all right there, Rusty. WB8VOW from N8SOB here on awards night. I'm just kidding. Oh, man, when you asked for announcements, I was about to key up. Anywho, good evening, everybody. Currently 75.7 degrees outdoors here in Fort Gratiot. A decent day at work. Can't complain for a Tuesday. Taco Tuesday at my mom's. Always enjoy that. And got home and to a new radio here. So just kind of been messing around with that and starting to program some things into it. See what repeaters I can get into or what have you. And other than that, not a whole lot. It's my main thing. My first crush, man. You know... her name was Courtney Gardner, man, a little blonde. And I want to think this was like kindergarten, man. Like, I just remember it. I think she was like my first kiss, too, on the playground. So, oh, man, that brings you back for sure. It makes you think about other things as well. So, yeah, kindergarten crush. See, I'm not that old, so I can go back that far and remember it. And there's some pretty good stories in here. Can't wait to hear the rest of them, that's for sure. Good topic there, Rusty. Everybody sounding good? Everybody have a good evening. We'll catch you here tomorrow on Hump Day. So with that, we'll pass it back to you, Rusty. WB8VOW and the Wolverine Single Sideband Net. This is N8SOB.
N8SOB, WB8VOW. Well, Courtney, well, you know, see, there were no Courtneys. There were no Courtneys in 1960. It's funny, the evolution of names. The Courtneys couldn't have come on, much earlier than the mid-'80s. So, you date yourself there, Shawnee. You do. That's sweet, though. That's a sweet story. Yeah, it's going to be fun to hear the rest of them here. All right, let's move on down. K9JJM. Jeff, are you there? And are you done with dinner? I'm hoping you're on the net here. We're going to go to you and then to Taz. So stand by, Tazman. But Jeffrey, you're up.
All right, on a different computer, and we're on Wi-Fi. I got another one updating here. WB8VOW and the wonderful Wolverine Single Sideband Net. This is K9JJM, Jeff in Goshen, Indiana. Well, good evening, Rusty. Good evening, all the Wolverines. Good to hear everybody. Hold on a second. Making sure everything's running okay here. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, decent day at work today, like Sean. Enjoyed the weather. I think it's 76 degrees right here in Goshen, Indiana. And it's going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow. So I can't beat that. Not had supper yet. It's cooking right now in the oven. And Julie went for a little walk before she brings what's out in the oven and we get to eat it. So I am here. First crush. Boy. Second grade, I had a crush on a girl named Suzette. And I thought it was big time. We were holding hands. We kissed. And then not much happened after that until our senior year in high school, when we ended up dating for a while. So kind of weird. It was a first crush, and then many years later, actually dated. So anyway, that's what I got for you. WB8VOW, K9JJM. Thanks, Rusty.
All right, K9JJM, WB8VOW. I could just picture this. You got to close your eyes and think of Jeffrey as a young lad saying, Suzette, would you like to hold hands? I love your voice, man. That's awesome. All right, let's go to the Grand Kapuma, K8TAS, telling all tonight, member number 399, and stand by KJ4. Oh, no, let's see. SBC was in and out. We'll be going to KD8KQS. That's Vernon. We'll be going to him next, member number 446. But Taz, man, pick it up.
Grand Hooba.
WB8VOW, Rusty. This is Kilo 8 Tango Alpha Sierra Taz in Romulus, Michigan. We're sitting at 72 degrees. We warmed up to 76. It was a beautiful, comfortable, warm day. Couldn't ask for better. And we started off from mid-40s this morning. And picked up branches and stuff like that, and here we are. And Rusty, you know I'm here. Thank you for being there on Tuesday nights, and of course you know I'm riding along. I'll pick up the file after the net. And yeah, like Doris said, we're headed off to Portland, Tennessee in the morning. Be on the road at 6:30, so visit the youngest daughter, her husband, and the 2 grandkids. So looking forward to it. Those are my youngest of 15 grandkids, so looking forward to seeing them. And, well, Rusty, my first crush, believe it or not, I was 13. I lived in California, and I used to come home from school, and I'd turn on the TV and watch the Mickey Mouse Club, and I was infatuated with Annette Funicello. I don't know why, but I used to look forward to turning the TV on and watching her on the Mickey Mouse Club every day. So, hey, I was 13, what can I say? And then the year we came up to Michigan, I lived in 6 states before we got here, Michigan being the 6th one. Anyhow, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We're going to try to check in on Sean's remote while we're gone a couple times, maybe. With that, I'll say 7-3. We're riding along here and enjoying everybody's comments. WB8VOW, K8TAS.
All right, K8TAS, WB8VOW, and the wonderful Wolverine single sideband net. We'll take a break for check-ins in a few seconds here. But I want to make comments. Well, you know what? If you're a guy that's a traveling lad, you know, it's good to have a girlfriend or a crush on somebody that you can at least follow on Coast to Coast TV. So good for you, Taz. And yeah, I think it's the dimples. That girl, you know, I'll see something with her in it today. Man, I'm trying to think. I saw some old Elvis movie on a rerun, and Annette was in it, and she's just a cutie. That's all there is to it. You know, probably a lot like Doris looked back in the day. I'm pretty sure. So, at any rate, thanks for being there. You guys have a great trip. I hope you enjoy. Just a perfect road ahead, and no rain, and just a good time with the family. So, drive safe, my friend. All right, let's take a standby because we're at the bottom of the hour, and that's the kind of net we are. Every 15 minutes, we like to pause to take check-ins. That kind of keeps things moving along nice and smooth without a lot of interruptions. So if you'd like to get on the wonderful Wolverine single sideband net, give me a call. WB8VOW taking general check-ins. Answered by a chorus of crickets. Well, let's keep on rolling. Vernon, you're up. KD8KQS and stand by KD9TYO. Vernon, how you doing tonight?
Okay, real good there, Rusty. I believe your caller is WB8, DOW. I'm not really sure if I wrote that down right.
Yeah, it's Whiskey Baker 8, Voice of Wolverine.
You'll come back and let me know if I got that right.
Yeah, it's Whiskey Baker 8, Voice of Wolverines, VOW. What a coincidence.
Okay, B sound like V to me. Yeah. Anyway, VOW. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, you know, I've been warm weather brings out people. They got to do their cleanups and got to do their poisoning and all that stuff. So, you know, I've had the thing out there trying to get my apple trees all nice and oiled up there so the insects won't get in there and lay eggs and stuff. And I've done that and got that all done, and I've been going. I went up for the wife there to get some seeds for the garden there. Of course, you don't start the garden here till almost June, so it'll be a while before we start that. Anyway, I had a good day. We got about 74 degrees here today. Really nice. And then sun, had a little clouds in the sky, but the sun, for the most part, was out all day. Let's see, my crush. I got to be with Taz there in 1950, got to say 55, 56, I can't remember the year. But I had a big old crush on Annette Funicello. And I kept it for a long time. I was a member of that Mickey Mouse Club, and every day after school it came on about 4 o'clock in the evening or afternoon, and I sat there and watched that before I did anything else. But as time went on, memories and stuff faded, and it's all gone. Anyway, 73 to everyone out there. Everybody's sounding really good on my radio, and we'll catch you again. And thanks a lot, Rusty, for having me. You're doing a fine job. This is KD8KQS.
All right, KD8KQS, WB8VOW. Well, thanks for being a part of our net tonight. And you know, Annette's a good answer. I think she's a gem. And always, you know, I love the fact that she's one of those that really there's no scandal about. She just was a fresh, wholesome kid. And if there's anything else that I shouldn't, yeah, don't tell me. I don't want that one spoiled. All right, let's move on down to KD9TYO. That's James over in Plover, Wisconsin, member number 629. And then stand by, KRX. Bradley will be coming to you next. But James, go ahead and pick it up, sir.
This is a KD9TYO out here in Central Springs, Wisconsin. Well, that's a very interesting subject that you got here for today, about the first crush. And always the same girl comes into mind. The first time I saw her was somewhere around 6th or 7th grade. And I just thought she was just as cool as could be. But at that age, and even later on in the high school, I was always afraid to ask her out. Well, as the story goes on, I finally graduate, and college was up here. We got together sometime after I graduated, and they were always wondering why I never asked her out. Then my folks said, I don't know, we never talked about her. But the answer is I was afraid to. So that's kind of the first crush, and everyone else after that, there wasn't really a crush, it was just kind of a blind date. So, anyways, I'm going to send it back to you, Rusty.
All right, 89TYO, WB8VOW. Well, you know, I totally identify with that. It's funny because a few years ago, well, almost 5 years ago, I got on the high school, and I went to a high school that had a graduating class of 400, so we didn't know everybody, but I got on the high school reunion committee, thought I'd give a little back, because I'd gone to some of the reunions, and quite honestly, I could think of worse things than spending time with a bunch of ex-cheerleaders. So with Diane's permission, I helped out on the committee and helped out on the reunion, and it was a good reunion. We had a lot of fun and enjoyed each other's company. But it was really funny because all those girls that were, you know, kind of too cool for me, they have all these stories about how, you know, nobody ever asked them out and how they would have loved to have been asked out, this, that, and the other. But quite frankly, I'm thinking that, yeah, they were too cool for me. At any rate, great memories here on the Wolverine Single Sideband Net. Let's go to KC9KRX, our buddy down there in Hobart, Indiana. Come on and say something there, Bradley, and then stand by, Norm.
All right.
WB8BOW, KC9KRX. Good evening, Rusty. You're sounding good here. The band seems to be somewhat coming around more now. Good evening to all. Hope everybody's doing okay. 79 degrees, had a high of 81, and I guess it's starting to go down, so I'm not sure how far it's going to go, but we'll just have to see what it does. Just wanted to come in and say howdy, wave a hand to all. Hope everybody's having a good evening and enjoying the nice weather as well. The next couple of days, anyhow. We'll ride along a few minutes. WB8BOW, KC9KRX.
All right, KC9KRX. It's always good to have you ride along there, Brad. We enjoy you popping in and waving a hand and seeing that big old paw come up from over there in Hobart, Indiana. So you have a great night and enjoy this weather. Oh my gosh, just man, let it keep going. It's awesome. All right, let's go to KD9HAV. That's Norm in Fort Wayne, and then stand by. WO8A Mark down in Waverly, Ohio will be coming to you next. But Norm, you're up. Tell us about your first crush.
WB8BOW, got to keep my finger on the trigger. KD9HAV, Norm here in Fort Wayne, where we have 74 degrees and sunshine, just an absolutely beautiful day that gave me the opportunity to take about a 7 or 8 mile ride on the Little Red Chariot up through the trails and just really enjoyed being outside. First crush, I don't know. I dated quite a few girls in high school. Nobody that we were just friends. The real kicker was, though, I was good friends with this guy up at Great Lakes. We were stationed up there in the Navy, and he had a car, and we had met these girls, and he said he could drive. We could have a double date. So we had this double date. We went out, and I think we got dinner or something, and didn't do any drinking or anything. Just had a good time. Well, we were at the women's barracks there in Great Lakes and walking these gals up, and just one gal that I had was out with worked in the office I did. We were just friends, and so give her a kiss goodnight, and boy, I tell you what, Mama Bear had a day with my buddy, and I had my eyes on her all evening. So I give this other girl a kiss goodnight, and I turned around and I said to Pat, oh, by the way, how would you like to go out next Saturday night? My buddy didn't care, and she looked back at me and she said, well, I will if you'll promise to go to church with me tomorrow morning. So I did, and we did, and almost 59 years later, we're still Mama Bear and Papa Bear. She has my heart, and I have hers, and I wouldn't want to live life without her. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I guess it was a lifelong crush. Rusty, I'm going to kick it back your way. Thanks for doing the net tonight. WB8BOW, KD9HAV, 73, God bless and take care. God bless America. KD9HAV is out of here.
All right, KD9HAV. Well, thanks for bringing a sweet, sweet story. What a great story. I got one a little bit similar, but not as long. From the standpoint, I remember being at college, and for some reason I was walking with this guy who. I was walking back to. I was walking with this guy and his girl back to the dorm, and then him and I were going to walk to our dorm, and of course, he kissed her goodnight. And there was a girl that was just kind of hanging around, probably waiting for Joyce, and actually this guy and Joyce got married, so they had a pretty good long relationship, and still married to my knowledge. But I looked at my friend and his to-be wife, and I said, well, I know what they're doing here, but I'm not sure what you're doing here, to the girl. and she floored me. She says, "Well, I'm waiting for you." And we dated for a while and argued even more. We'd have been cats and dogs if we'd have gone farther, but it was like one of the best comebacks I can remember a woman ever given me, and that was great. So just a lot of fun memories. All right, let's go to W08A. That's member number 633 over there in Waverly, Ohio. Mark, go ahead and pick it up and stand by, Sam.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it there, WD8VOW. Hey, Rusty, that was great. I tell you one thing, Norm, that was a sweet story, real kind story, and a blessing. But mine's not so rotten hot. But when I was in about 7th grade, I fell for this girl, and I kept liking her, and she wound up going to our church and the Vacation Bible School. Everything I was involved with there, she was there, but it was on Answered Love. You know, it was rough on me all the way up till like I was in high school, maybe even like sophomore. But finally I met someone, but it wasn't the same, you know. But you know, I gotta be honest with you. You know, the last 25 years been the best years of my life. The wife I have now, and it wasn't my first wife, nor was my second wife, not even my third wife. But the fourth time was the charm. But it's lasted a good while. And the first love was kind of is bitter. It was, you know, it was a nice girl and everything, but it was just unanswered love. So it's not like Norm there, but I kind of started early. And but God's blessed me now. I'm very blessed and happy. But it's not a good topic for me at W08A.
Well, Mark, I'm sorry, but you know, I think it's really a mark of maturity, and maybe it's something that takes you to get a little bit to older to appreciate. But you know, being able to look at what you have, not what you don't have, and being able to appreciate that, you know, what you have is pretty darn good. Again, I go back to that song, I Thank God for Unanswered Prayers, because you know, one of the girls that I was really head over heels for, she unfortunately in her 20s turned out to be bipolar. She has more issues than I could have dealt with, I'm sure. And you know, it's just kind of like, and she's one of the ones that came back and said, "Well, yeah, I know I made a mistake. You know, I should have stuck with you." And I'm like, no, this is okay. I'm really happy with my wife. When she left, I looked at my wife and I said, "Diane, I'm really glad you're not crazy." It helps a lot. And you know, and I say that getting bipolar disease is like anything else. It's a tough thing for the people that go through it, and I do realize that you know, some of that stuff is nothing anybody asked for, and you got to work through it, and it's tough. But you know, sometimes that unreturned love was unreturned for a good reason, I guess. So not making fun of anybody. I'm very hopeful that my ex interest there gets as well as she can be, and back to the girl that I knew. Anyway, let's roll on down before I dig myself a bigger hole, and we'll pick up N8XUY, and then we'll take a pause and see if anybody else wants to get on the list. This is the Wolverine Single Sideband Net, and Sam, it's your turn.
WB8VOW. Well, hey, thank you for going there. I wouldn't have gone there, but that was a good one. But I could go there if you ever want to. That'd be pretty funny, too. Hey, everybody, N8XUY here in Manchester, Michigan. Good day, beautiful weather. Did doctoring and, you know, did a few other things. Got up on the roof, worked on an antenna a little bit. Okay, first crush. I saw the heading on the net logger tonight. So, hey, Rusty, is this from, like, you know, kindergarten or later? Or he goes, well, you know, kind of up to you. So, like, you know, the first one was, you know, I had a kindergarten crush and probably a 4th grade crush, a 7th grade crush. That one was like, oh, by 7th grade I learned that girls could, like, tease you on and then they dump you. That happened a few more times. But here's one for you. And by the way, I really liked Norm Story and Eric over in Blanchardville. They write songs about Diane and Eric. I met my first love, and she'll be my last love. Very beautiful. But I have a lady friend, a girlfriend from... We met each other when we were less than 1 year old. We grew up 3 houses apart. We remain best of friends. We're both 72 years old. We thought about maybe being boyfriend and girlfriend at one point in time. It just wasn't meant to be. But we did everything else together. Growing up, we saw the Beatles together. We went to concerts. We did everything. We were the best of friends. I guided her, like, hey, don't go dating that guy because he's a dumbass or whatever. You know what I mean? And we still love each other after all these years. I love her. I love her husband and family, and it's reciprocal. Lucky us. Wasn't a crush, but great friendship. Back to you, Rusty W. B8VOW, N8XUY 73 to all.
N8XUY, WB8VOW, and what another great story, Sam. That is awesome. I mean, that's a lifelong relationship. Man, nobody has those any longer, but that is so cool that you've got that, and that you guys get along like that. And you know, it just goes to show. Greg comes up with the topics, and you guys come up with the goods, man. That was an awesome story. I like that a lot, and good on both of you to realize that, hey, maybe there wasn't a romantic interest, but there's a good human being. I want to stay in contact with that one. So good deal all the way. All right, well, let's see. We're just a little past the quarter hour. Let's take a quick break and see if anybody wants to get on the wonderful Wolverine single sideband net. We're actually down to about the last 6 on the list, so it won't be that long of a wait. If you'd like to get aboard, give me a call. WB8VOW, taking general check-ins.
Charlie 8 Echo Hotel Romeo.
Cross Sierra.
Alpha Juliet 0 Whiskey X-ray.
November Bravo 9 Delta.
Hey, 2 out of 3. No, 3 out of 4 ain't bad here. All right, KC8EHR. That's Clint. Got you in at number 28, Clint. And then I had one ending in Sierra. Let me have the one ending in Sierra again.
That is Kilo 2. Mike Foxtrot Sierra. Mike on the Jersey Shore.
Jersey Mike, welcome aboard, number 29. All right. Yeah, I had the EHR over the top, and I just caught the Sierra. And then we got HA0WX at 30, and then NB9 Delta at 31. Anybody else for the Wolverines tonight?
KD8GFL.
KD8GFL got you at 32. Welcome aboard. Anybody else? All right, no voices in my head. Let's go on down the list and pick up KK4EKK. That's Donnie. He hangs out in Clarksville, Tennessee. Member 634 and 21 on our list tonight. And then stand by VE3KUZ as we go international next. But Donnie, go ahead and pick it up.
Well, I tell you what, I'm trying something different for the first time. I'm listening to you on SDR and talking on this radio, so I hope it's going out okay. Everything's been going fine up here, and I don't guess I ever had a very first one. I just had a whole lot of them until I went to service, and then they kind of stopped. But I'm going to turn it back over to you and let me know if this turned out all right. KK4 Echo KK, turning it back over to net control.
All right, I think Donnie's over. Was Donnie over?
Yes.
All right, thanks for the help. Yeah, Donnie, I had you right at my noise level, so I didn't hear anything, but I did hear your friendly voice, and it's always good to hear you on the Wolverine single sideband net, and I'm sure the other guys heard you. I'm just a little compromised on my receive antenna. But thanks for being there and sticking it out with us and being number 21 tonight. Hope that you have a great evening and enjoy that weather. Keep pushing that weather up from the south. I really appreciate these warm temperatures we're having because I think we're at 74 degrees right now. So, boy, that's just such a treat after winter. Let's go over and pick up VE3KUZ. That'd be Bob. Hey, Bob, how's it going in Windsor? And stand by JJO.
Well, hello, Rusty. WBA-VOW. This is VE3KUZ, Bob in Windsor. First crush, I guess it would have to be Annette Funicello. No, I'm just kidding. No, she was kind of before my time, but no, kind of like what Sam was saying. I was kind of identifying with that. The girl next door, she wasn't 3 doors down, she was right next door, and we kind of grew up together. Did a lot of stuff with her family. We always did everything together. And right on through, from an early age, I think maybe about 3 years old, all the way through high school, college, and then I moved away. And before I moved away, we went out on a date finally. Everybody thought we were going to date one another, and I finally asked her out, and of course she said yes, and it was kind of weird because all of a sudden I realized she was more of like a sister to me than a girlfriend. Even though I had a crush on her, there was no spark there like that. It was just I knew her family so well, and that's just how it went down. And then I moved away and kind of lost touch with her because she moved away. She ended up getting married, and she's somewhere not too far away from here, the last I heard, but I have no idea what really became of her. But, everything has a way of working out, and I met my wife along the way, and that's a better outcome, I think, than anything. So, back to you, Rusty. WBA-VOW from VE3KUZ.
VE3KUZ, WBA-VOW. Well, hey, that's a good story. It reminds me of the girl next door. So I had 3 girls next door, and this was basically, I think, during my... let me think about this. I think they probably moved in when I was around 12 years old. I mean, I was probably doing the happy dance when I saw 3 girls. But what was really funny is we none of us we got along together. We played together. We played cards and stuff like that. But there, like you said, there was no real spark there, and so we ended up actually going to the same high school and all that kind of stuff. But years later, this is the part that's kind of funny, although my sister-in-law doesn't think so. So years later, my sister-in-law, who's a florist, is just having trouble with this horrible, awful individual who's just ruining her life at the flower shop. And, of course, it ended up being the girl next door. So I always had to be very, very careful at my reunions and stuff like that, because she'd pop over and she'd, give me a big smile and start talking to me. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, if my sister-in-law knew what I was doing now, she'd kill us both. But, yeah, it's a small world sometimes. All right, let's go on down and pick up NAJJO, the voice of Lake Huron. Let's pick up John, and then stand by. We'll be heading over to Chicago to Lombard and picking up George. So go ahead, John. How you doing tonight? NAJJO, are you there? All right. right, maybe John got called away. Let's give him a yellow stripe on net logger and move on down to WA9UJR and stand by kicking sand.
WBA-GOW, this is WA9UJR, Canadian Rushing all the Wolverines. Boy, dynamite day here today. Got to the 80s. Had a chance to sweep out the garage a little bit, move some stuff around, clean some things up that have been stacked up over the winter months, and just love it. And I think we're going to have a couple more days like that. So really a great break from the rotten weather that we've had up to this point in time. Well, interesting question on the first wheel clutch. I guess I lucked out with mine. Met this lady at my first job after I completed college. And by golly, we're celebrating our 60th wedding anniversary next month. So sometimes those first real good meetings work out. Of course, not always, but in our case it did. So, as the guy says, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Want to wish everybody a good evening, a great tomorrow, and enjoy the weather. Hopefully in your area it's like it is here, and I'll talk to you down the road. 73 Stalls, WBA-COW, this is WA9UJR, over.
All right, WA9UJR, my second George of the night. Hey, thanks for being there, George. And yeah, you got a lovely wife. I was really happy to, well, wait a minute, I'm thinking, wait a minute, maybe wait a minute, let me back up here. I don't think you made the picnic last year. I'm thinking of the other George. All right, I got George confusion. But you know what? What a great story. You know, you get the right one right out of the gate, and you stick with them all through life. Man, that's just a great story. So thanks so much for being there, George. Hope you guys have a great day and great evening, and enjoy maybe sitting out on the porch a little bit and enjoying the great weather, because oh man, this you're right, this after winter, even though we had a mild winter, this is just the ticket for what we all need. Let's go over and pick up W8KS, and Jeffrey, how you doing there in Norton Shores? Hoping you're getting some good news on the health situation. But how are you and Robin doing over there? And then stand by. We'll take a break at the top of the hour, and then we'll be picking up Clint in Eaton Rapids. But go ahead, Jeffrey. How you doing? W8KS, your turn at the mic, my friend.
He's kicking sand.
Yeah, well, I know he hasn't been feeling real good. I'm really happy he jumps in and tries to make our net. So hopefully he's doing okay, and maybe he'll do a recheck. But we'll move on down the log and pick up Clint, KC8EHR. I'm sure Clint's got a good story for us. And then stand by Mike in the Jersey Shores there. But Clint, go ahead and pick it up, my friend.
Yeah, WB8VOW and a Wolverine single sideman net. This is KC8EHR. Good evening to you, Rusty, and everyone else out here. Sorry I got here a little late, and it's been a few days since I've been out here. Been pretty exhausted, I gotta say. Like I said, I was off for about two and a half months. It was a nice little break. I enjoyed it. It was like a pseudo retirement, and just makes me want to be retired even more. But getting back to it, and my goodness, we did Monday. So we're doing a job in Galesburg again, and it's the same facility but another contract. And this one we're going through remodeling a lot of the building. In this particular phase, they gave us 3 days to demo out the bathrooms. There's 2 bathrooms, men and women's. And we demoed 3 days worth of work in 6. And not to break my arm, I gotta say, I'm the oldest guy on the crew, and I outwork the guys that are half my age. I don't understand it. I guess it's just generation thing. But so needless to say, I am whipped. Yesterday I come home and laid there. I took a shower and ate dinner, and I passed out for a few hours on the couch sitting next to my wife. Woke up for about an hour and a half and went to bed, and woke up this morning at 3:30, and I had my alarm set for 3, and I did not want to get up. I was tired going into work and everything. So if I sound groggy and tired right now, that is why. And you're talking about first crushes. Well, I think when I was in first grade, I had a crush on my first grade teacher. There's a girl in the class. It was my girlfriend. Her name was Jody. And I don't know if you technically consider it your first kiss or whatever, but I can't remember if it was in front of the teacher or what, but she come up to me and she kissed two of her. I don't even really recall it. I remember thinking, are we boyfriend, girlfriend? But she kissed both of her 2 fingers, and then she touched my lips with them. So, that was different. At least then, when I was that young, right? It was just different for me. But, anyways, I guess that would have been my first crush. Good to hear everyone out here, Rusty. You had a good net going. Wish I could. I got a floor noise here at around 7. It just started. And I'm not sure what it is. I know it's at the house because we haven't changed anything. And a couple of days ago, the band was real quiet. My floor noise was a 4. And now I get this kind of like a pulsating sound. I really believe it's from the power line. And don't ask me to do that sound effect again. I'll pass it back to you, Rusty. Wish you and everybody out here 73 and God bless. WB8VOW and the Wolverine single sideband net. This is KC8EHR.
KC8EHR. Well, listen, if you're ever demoing or demolishing bathrooms, we've got a guy on the net that he's an expert at that. Now, I think he needs M80s, but Taz could give you a hand, but you need ear protection, that's for sure. Oh, Clint, man, what a great story. That's a sweet, sweet story. And, I'll tell you, it sounds like you're working awful hard. And, man, that's good on you that you're outshining the younger lads, maybe giving them an example to follow. And, boy, just be careful that you don't push it too far. And, the days go fast, but like you said, the body, you get a certain age, the body doesn't recover like it once did. And, boy, that could be tough. So, hopefully you get through this week and get some time off this weekend. All right, well, thanks for being there, and what a great little story. I just think that's sweet. All right, let's see. We're at the top of the hour. Let's take a quick standby, and then we'll go pick up Mike on the Jersey Shore. Anybody for the Wolverine single sideband net, come now.
Kilo Delta 8, Charlie Whiskey Alpha.
Kilo 3, Echo Sierra Lima.
All right, I got Kilo Delta 8, Charlie Whiskey Alpha at 33, K3 ESL. Eric, you're at 34. There was somebody else out there.
Whiskey Bravo 8, Bravo Hotel
from the Buckeye State.
November 8, Bravo Charlie Alpha.
All right, WB8BH, give me the last letter.
Buckeye.
Kilo.
WB8BHK got you in at 35, N8BCF at 36. Who else is out there? All right, nothing heard. Like I said, I got CWA at 33, ESL 34, BHK at 35, and BCF at 36. Anybody else?
November 8, Bravo Charlie Foxtrot.
I got you there, Bob. I got you. 36. All right. Let's go ahead and jump back on the list and pick up Mike from the Jersey Shore, K2MFS, come on in and stand by Andy, AJ0WX. But Mike, the microphone is yours, sir. What do you got for a first crush, brother?
Good evening to everybody in the Wolverines there. Good evening, Rusty. K2MFS here. My first crush was more of a thing than a who. Back in the late 60s, they came out with the old banana seat bicycles with the monkey handbars, they call them, and I wanted one so bad that I think it was 1968. My dad got me one for Christmas, and I was just so in love with that bike. I'd be riding it all day long to the point where my parents had to take it away from me because I would be on that thing day in, day out, all night long if I could. But that's my first crush. So you're talking about people. My second grade teacher, Mrs. Strickland. I was kind of like the teacher's pet, so whatever I did, I could do no wrong. But I don't even remember much of that back then. But anyway, hey, it was beautiful here on the Jersey Shore. We got up to 73 degrees. We're looking for 80 tomorrow, and then getting up into the mid-80s for Thursday and Friday. So summer is here. Only problem is warm weather. I'm working from sun up to sundown. When you picked me up the first time looking for first-timers tonight, I just walked in the door, come down here, turned the radio on, threw the call out there, so I had a few minutes here to sit down, grab something to eat, but now I'm going to go get ready, take a shower, and I have a club 10-meter net that I do for our group, so that comes up in a little bit. But Rusty, you're sounding great out here. Appreciate the opportunity to jump in here. It'll be K2MFS. We'll send it back to you, sir.
All right, K2MFS. Well, hey, thanks for making us, getting us on the list and for jumping right in there, Mike. It's always good to hear you. And, hey, before you go, hopefully you haven't flipped me off yet, but before you go, were you able to pull a wheelie on that Stingray?
You don't know how many times I've skinned my knees up doing that.
Well, I had one, and I could pull a wheelie and ride it like a unicycle, more than halfway down the block. I loved that bike for that purpose. I didn't get into anything else but that. But boy, I loved pulling a wheelie and just keeping that balance point. But what a great bike! And hey, that's a great first crush.
Yeah, people think I'm crazy, but hey, thanks for the opportunity to jump in there. I'm glad you had a laugh. Have a good one there. Back to you, sir.
All right. Well, hey, this is the only first crush I share with anyone. All right. Take care, Mike. Get your shower and feel better, and good luck on your net tonight. Hope all goes well. Let's go to AJ0WX. That's over in Clawson, Michigan. Andy, go ahead and pick it up, Andy, and then stand by NB9D.
Hey, good evening to everyone on the net. My first crush was back in about 5th grade, a girl named Rachel, and what ended up happening is 6th grade I went to a different school, so I lasted all of a few months. And better news, had a nice long weekend, went back into work for the first time since Thursday. Had a nice roast over the weekend for Easter, and just enjoyed the time off, and looking forward to the good weather that's going to be around the corner, and hopefully get outside and do some antenna work. So with that, we'll hand it back to Net, AJ0WX.
All right, AJ0WX. Well, man, you know how to time taking the time off, because you got I think you got the pick of the spring there, and good for you, man. And yeah, it's always tough when you move away, because you things kind of are just left there, and you always wonder, well, what might have happened? But hey, it sounds like it all worked out, and good on you for picking the best days of the spring to take off. So hopefully re-entry into the work world won't be too much of a shock. All right, let's pick up Neil, NB9D. Great to hear you from Bedford, New Hampshire. We're going from Bedford, Michigan to Bedford, New Hampshire. Neil, you're up, and then stand by GFL.
Yeah, it's November Bravo 9 Delta, Neil in Bedford, New Hampshire on the N8 SOB link. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us on the net. As far as the topic of the net, well, yeah, I think the most memorable friendships are to be had when there's really nothing to be gained other than a true friend. So those, yeah, we most certainly have some great memories surrounding that, and where, yeah, I can look back and had quite a few good friends that we just do all sorts of fun stuff together, and yeah, nothing but great memories of it all, and so yeah, that's what the best memories are made out of. And let's see, well, today was a good day. It was actually nice and warm, about 75 degrees, and so we enjoyed it out there. It was just had a lot of fun, and yeah, kind of winding down this evening, and it's again, it's good to hear everyone out here. We'll send it back to Net Control. November Bravo 9 Delta. Thank you.
All right, Neil. Yeah, you guys especially. I mean, you guys had such brutal weather. What was that was it March or February? But man, I remember you guys were looking at 0 and 10 as maybe a heat wave. But yeah, glad you got through it, and glad you got some good weather there. And absolutely, good friends are great to have. Absolutely. So yeah, good memories, good friends. All right, let's continue on down and pick up KD8GFL, member number 402. That's Gary over there in Spruce. And then CWA, you're on deck, Kurt. But go ahead, Gary.
Okie doke. Thank you, sir. This is Kilo Delta 8, Golf Foxtrot Lima. Gary here in Spruce. Just sitting here trying to think about the first crush. Holy smokes. That's been a couple days ago. And I very honestly don't remember. Good Lord. I was too busy playing ball, let's put it that way. That might have been, maybe I consider that my first crush. You know, because I love playing baseball, and in fact, played hockey too. So, but baseball I enjoyed. And anyway, just starting to get myself back together again, so hopefully I'll be in here a little bit more often. You know, we'll see what happens though, but you never know. Things go haywire, and hey, there you go, your SOL. Anyway, thank you, sir, for bringing me in. Everybody have a great evening and be safe. KD8GFL.
All right, KD8GFL. Well, it's good to hear member 402 in there. Man, you know, it's you're right. Sometimes you get knocked off your pins by some health event or something that happens, and you get away from being on the net. But hey, you always got friends over here, and we look forward to you checking in. And just so happy you were able to do it tonight. So, all right, let's go ahead and pick up Kurt in Midland, KD8CWA. Then we'll take a quick break before we pick up Eric in Bloomfield Hills. But Kurt, go ahead. The mic's yours.
All righty. Well, thank you much there. This is Kilo Delta 8, Charlie Whiskey Alpha. And my very first crush was the girl next door. We did everything together. We had a lot of fun over the years. Then her parents got divorced. She moved away. We parted ways, and I never seen her till about, we were in mid-20s. Mid-20s anyways. I had been married and had a couple kids. She had been married and had a couple kids. And then I got divorced about 10 years ago. And we had talked throughout the years, on and off, occasionally when we meet back up again or meet up in town here. And her roommate she was staying with was gonna basically had her kicked out. And I said, well, I have a spare room you could use until you can get back on your feet. Since she was always a really good friend. And we, she came here and stayed. And throughout the month or two that we were, she was staying here, we got closer, reminiscing about things we done when we were kids and what went on with our lives and everything. And we've been together now for right around 7 years. And I finally found the true love of my life right there. And she would tell you the same. And it's just funny on how things work in life there. So back to net. This is Kilo Delta 8, Charlie Whiskey Alpha.
KD8CWAWB8VOW. Well, hey, that's really cool that it worked out like that, and how neat that is. That's just a great story to hear. Good on you, Kurt, and way to go, man. Sometimes the best of friends makes the best of life companions. So that's totally cool. All right, let's go on and take a quick break here since we're a little past the quarter hour. Anybody else want to get on the Wolverine single sideband net? I got about 3 to go on the list, but if you'd like to get on the list, give me a call. We're talking first crushes. So if you dare, give me a call. WB8VOW.
Kilo Alpha 8 Uniform Golf Bravo.
All right, KA8 UGB got you in at 37. Got 3 in front of you there, Tony. Anybody else? All right, let's work the rest of the list here. K3ESL out of Bloomfield Hills. Go ahead there, Eric, and stand by from Mount Gilead, Ohio. Herb will be coming to you next.
Well, K3ESL here. A very cool topic. My first crush was in 5th grade. Her name was Janet. And I distinctly remember when the teacher was assigning seats around the tables in the classroom, just praying silently that she would be at my table. And in fact, she sat across from me, and it was like heaven for that year. Hadn't seen her for decades and decades and decades. Found out she was actually living near me in D.C. when I had moved to D.C. literally 30 years later. And I called her up and said hi, and I said, I had a crush on you when we were in 5th grade. And she went just dead silent, and then she said, well, I'm married now. And I said, Janice, I've married and have 3 kids. That was 35 freaking years ago. In any case, that was one, and the other one, which is worth mentioning, is my wife, who the day I met her at a high school graduation party, I went home and told my mom I met the girl I was going to marry, and that was she's 45 years ago. So I made the right choice there. So back to you, Rusty, K3ESL.
Winner. All right, K3ESL. I'm just, sometimes it's amazing how easily people misunderstand your intentions. Oh my goodness, that was pretty funny. I got to think that that was awkward. But it's amazing how you never forget your first crush, and it's great growing up around girls, and if you're a girl, I'm sure it's great growing up around boys, and just getting to know what you like about each of them, and they're an interesting. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Is they're just kind of an enigma to us because we're not wired the same. We don't necessarily think the same, but doggone it, sometimes we just like each other. That's a good thing. So that's pretty funny, Eric. Thanks for sharing that story with us. That was a great one. WB8BHK. Herb, you're up, and then Standby Bob will be coming down to Georgia. But go ahead and pick it up, Herb.
Okay, Rusty. Well, very good evening to you and everybody else on the net tonight. This is WB8BHK in Mount Gilead, Ohio. I'm glad you're talking about and asking about first crush. My first crush was in second grade. Her name is Sandy, and she had curly blonde hair, and she's just the cutest little thing, and I was always attracted to her. We ended up, the whole class moved on up to third grade along with our teacher, kept the same teacher. She moved up to third grade. We all got along so well. And as it turned out, she and I and, I don't know, maybe half a dozen other kids hung around together during the summers, all through grade school and into junior high. Once we got into high school, we kind of started dating others. But interestingly enough, when my wife and I took the motorhome on a trip, 4 or 5 years ago maybe, we were heading out west, but we decided to go up into Michigan because that's where we're from. We were all born and raised in Redford Township, Michigan, and that's where we went to school. And the wife and I got married. We've been married 48 years now. But anyway, we took the motorhome and spent 3 or 4 days at Proud Lake Recreation Area and looked up some of our old school friends via Facebook and hooked up with them and visited. Well, it turned out we stayed at Proud Lake Recreation Area there near Walled Lake Wixom, and Sandy and her husband Jeff, who we also knew from school, lived right around the corner. He used to work at the Ford Wixom plant, and they lived right around the corner, so they invited us over to their house, and we had a grand time in the afternoon, shared a few drinks, and had dinner at their place, and was really wonderful. And that was, some 40 years or so later. It's a long time has passed by, and we've gone a lot of places and seen a lot of people, but it was interesting to spend the afternoon and evening with them. And as I said, the wife and I went to school together. We graduated together from high school, and Sandy and her husband as well. So it was kind of like old home week. But that was my first crush. My wife, Kathy, just like Eric just said, was my second real crush, and we're still together. Aye. So back to you, Rusty. A great topic for tonight. WB8VOW, WB8BHK. Go ahead.
All right, WB8BHK, WB8VOW, and the Wolverines. Well, I got to give credit where credit is due. This one comes from K8CGS. Greg had the topic and floated it over to me on an email, and I thought, hey, this would be kind of fun. It's, the whole purpose of this net is for us to, enhance and continue the fraternity of amateur radio, and what a great step back, and what an enjoyable way to get to know each other. Some of those stories are just precious, man. They just, we come up with the topics, but boy, you guys really bring the material. So just awesome. All right, let's see if we can pick up Bob down there in Norcross, Georgia, N8BCF, and then stand by UGB. Go ahead, Bob. You're up.
Good evening, Rusty and the Wolverines. WB8VOW from November 8 Brown and Tri Foxtrot, Bob, North Falls, Georgia. Good to hear you on the air tonight, Rusty. And I'm going to tell you a story about my first crush, and I swear on a stack of Bibles, this is a true story. It happened back when I was living in Lansing, going to the local government school there. Second grade, we had a tea teacher that was just as strict as could be. She'd get out the wood stick and paddle you if you misbehaved. So anytime that we had to leave the classroom and go anywhere, had to line up in the hallway, boys on one side, girls on the other, and you had to hold hands with the person next to you to go to wherever it was you were going. And we were in that line one day, and I was holding hands with this little blonde girl, and she looked at me and said, "I like you, you're my boyfriend." And I tell you what, I was about as red can be and didn't know what to say. And it turns out, again, true story, her cousins live 2 doors down from me in the neighborhood there on Miller Road. So I would see her in school, and then she'd come visit her cousins, and I would see her there. And then it turns out that her dad and my mom were in PTA together. So they would go to our house, or we'd go to their house. And I hung out with her and her older sister for 2 years. And then I got sent off to a private Catholic school. And they picked up and relocated down to Orlando, Florida. And again, I kid you not only did they buy a house in the same neighborhood that my aunt was living in, but they bought the house directly behind them. And they ran into each other, started talking, and one year I went down to Orlando, I forget why, but I was there at my aunt's house, and I had a roller skate date with her and her older sister while I was in Orlando. And then I came back up to Michigan, and they stayed down there. And then, of course, I moved back to the old neighborhood, moved back in the house while I was going to Michigan State. And I was working, came home from work one day, and there was a note on my door that she was in Michigan and at her cousin's house, and to give her a call when I got home. So I gave her a call, and she came a few doors down to the house, and we sat and talked for a long time. And I tell you what, at that time, she was just drop dead gorgeous. I mean, to the point that her college professors were trying to date her, and Playboy actually approached her to be a model, which she actually was repulsed by and turned them down. But like I said, we talked, had a good visit, and that was 1982. And then that was the last time I ever saw or heard from her. So I assumed that she became very successful because she was very intelligent and had what it took. So anyways, that is a true story. And then, of course, there's been several others since then, but something for another night there, Rusty. So anyways, good to hear you, good to hear all the Wolverines. Turned out to be a gorgeous day today. Mid-70s, sunshine, and hopefully it's going to continue on and just get better from there. So, same things, everyone. Y'all have a great evening, and I will catch y'all later. Thank you, Rusty, WB8VOW from N8BCF.
N8BCF, WB8VOW. Well, good copy all the way. The details and the intricacies, and holy crap, what are the odds? Oh my gosh, what a great story. And that's what we're all about here on the wonderful Wolverine Single Sideband Net. So man, thanks for hanging in there and telling it. That was awesome. Oh man, it's a small world sometimes. And then sometimes, you know, there are people that you expect that you'd be seeing at the grocery store, at the hardware, and you never run into them, you know. But then there's others that just keep popping up. So that's great. All right, we'll break with you. We'll go down and grab KA8UGB. Hey, Tony, how'd Sunday go? And have you recovered? And tell us about your first crush, my friend. You're up on the Wolverine Single Sideband Net. Go ahead, sir.
All right, then. This is KA8UGB. You know what? Sunday was great. Could it have been better? I don't know. It was pretty great as it was. It's every year is a little bit different. We always have certain things that we expect and anticipate, but it's sometimes they happen the way we expect and anticipate. Other times they take a different turn. And as far as my first crush, I have to think about that for a bit. The reason being is because when I was at that age, up through school, I did not date. As a matter of fact, and just to be clear, I wasn't religious. I wasn't a church boy. It's just dating didn't make any sense to me. As a matter of fact, I was called into the coach's office, and he asked me, "So you do like girls?" So I said, "Yeah." I says, "Well, I find it interesting that that I see you at some of these events and that, and he says, and I don't see you, dating any of the girls." And I had to explain, and I explained to him just like I'll explain now. I did not date because I did not understand what the significance was and why it is that so many adults wanted us to rehearse our divorce. So, of course, that doesn't mean I didn't have a crush. That doesn't mean that I didn't, there was some who caught my eye. But when I was 16 years old, a girl by the name of Debbie caught my eye. And just see, so yeah, guess what? I looked at dating, and we might have dated a little bit. It just wasn't working too well, and we lasted for about one summer, and it wasn't for another 2 years, when she would come out of the Air Force. And then we got married. So apparently, I stayed true to form. The girl that I dated, or the girl that I would date, would be the girl that I would marry. So there you have it. This is KUGB, bearing it all on the Wolverine Net.
All right. Well, I don't know if your parishioners are listening in or not. Probably not. But, yeah, that's a great story. And, that's a good point. I mean, that was one of the things in raising my daughter that we never were a big proponent of. If she got interested in a boy, that was fine. But really, she didn't until this pesky little guy that looked a little like Harry Potter with blonde hair in her first year at college. Actually, before she went to college, we sent her over to Taylor University, and they had I'm trying to think of how this was. When she was a senior, they had a three-week camp basically, and part of it was to convince the seniors that they'd want to go to Taylor University, which was not cheap. It was not cheap. But she met this guy, and I knew he was trouble from the start. There was just something I knew he was going to end up being my son-in-law. And I tell him that all the time. I knew he was trouble, but I like him, and I think they're going to make it. And they've been married, I want to say 7 or 8 years at this point. So, yeah, sometimes that's just the best way, and that's the right plan. So, good deal, man. Well, this is the Wolverine Single Sideband Net, and we're at the bottom of the hour. If you'd like to get on the net tonight, we're just talking first crushes. Talk about getting to know each other. But if you'd like to get on, we'd love to have you join us. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be from Michigan. Anybody with a general or better class license is welcome on our net. Give me a call, WB8VOW, taking general check-ins this time.
Recheck.
Go recheck.
Yeah, Rusty, a lot of high school stories. Good evening, Tony. A lot of high school stories out there, and it just brings back a story that I have. And it's not about a crush, but when I was in junior high, we had a study hall, and all the seniors would tell horror stories about the lady that was in charge of study hall. Her name was Mrs. Lovewell. And the stories that she would take you by the ear and twist it up and take you over by the window and threaten to throw you out if you didn't behave yourself. And that study hall was on the second floor. But if you made a noise, boy, she was right on you, and just horror stories about this lady. So I was kind of nervous going into study hall. And at that time, they had a work program where you went to school half day, then you worked a half day, then you got credit for it. So anyway, I would go to study hall and I'm one of those guys where you show me one thing one time and then I'll remember it always. But sort of hands-on. And I was thinking, oh boy, I didn't have anything to study. I was just sitting there. Next day I come in, just sat there, not studying, but not saying anything, just sitting there. And she walked up to me and she said, young man, are you studying? I said, no, ma'am. She said, well, here. She gave me the keys to her Hudson. She said she had an old Hudson. And she said, go down to such and such store and buy me a pound of grapes. And she gave me the money and the keys to her car. And I went out and got in her car, went down to the store, got her some grapes. Then, from then on, and she was just as nice to me as she could be. Whenever she wanted something or needed something, she would have me run an errand for her instead of sitting there in study hall. So I thought that was kind of neat. I did like that old lady. She turned out to be really nice, not like all the other guys were saying. So that everybody talking about being in high school reminded me of that story, and I had to let you know that. Back to you.
All right, Art, that was a great story. Well, you know, I was remembering one of the stories that we used to read to my daughter was about a substitute teacher, and it's too bad WIV isn't on tonight, but it was kind of along that same thing. You know, you live and die by your reputation, and if you have a tough reputation, you know, as a substitute, it can go a little easier for you. And so maybe that's kind of where she was coming from. Is keep those rumors going because everybody's quiet in her class and she maintains control. But that's an incredible story that she can't give you the keys to her car to go do a grape run. Wow. All right. Well, we're at the bottom of the list. Anybody want to get on the Wolverine single sideband net? Now is your chance. Give me a call. WB8VOW taking last call for check-in. All right, well, I just want to thank everybody who joined us tonight on the net. Man, your stories are just the best, and I think that's one of the things that just makes this net a delight to do as a net controller, hearing all the different comments, and you know, again, big thanks to K8CGS for a great topic and a lot of fun. Boy, it just is a great nostalgic net, and I really appreciate everybody sharing and being brave enough to share such great stories. This is WB8VOW. I'm your net host from Lambertville, Michigan. I'm closing this evening's edition of the wonderful Wolverine single sideband net and returning this frequency to normal amateur use. I know that the Central Gulf Coast Hurricane net will be kicking off in a little under an hour. If you stick around, I'm sure you'll enjoy that group, a very kind group that follows us here on this frequency. But in the meantime, let me say good night and 73s to all. This is WB8VOW, 73s.
WB8VOW, NXUY. We have a pretty good program director here over there in Coloma, don't we?
We do. He's a good, you know, most PDs you kind of grow to hate, but I love this guy over there.
Careful what you ask for. With some real good stuff that the talent enjoys operating with.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. But, you know, ideas are easy. Executing's hard.
Yeah, we appreciate your ideas, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Those ideas make executing easy. So good on you, brother.
Well, I'm glad it's G-rated because I'm full of X-rated.
You know, I almost thought of coming up with a few alternatives of girlfriends when I started, but then I said, nope, I don't want to do that. But Greg, are you feeling any better?
No.
Oh, great. You want me to come over there and have a chat with you or something?
No, it's, you know, honestly, it's a tad better. It's just that when you get a tad better, you do a tad more, then you feel a tad worse. Hopefully, God, I would love, they said worst case it could take up to 10 days for the biopsies to come back. So I don't know. We'll see. But I hope they find something quick.
They sending them out of the country or something?
I don't know why it's taken so long. Maybe they got a lot of biopsies, or maybe it's a kind of biopsy. I don't know. I was on that medicine, so I was relying on my neighbor to tell me what he said.
That's pretty funny, man. I would have loved to have been there for your. I would have videoed, of course. Ha ha.
Yeah, I know. And I told him to, and I mentioned. He said I was crazy nuts.
Yeah, but actually, that's kind of neat because you lose all your inhibitions, and you're probably pretty much telling the truth about how you feel during that time. I know I got a kick out of my wife when she had to take some of that meds. She gets a kick out of me when I do it, and it's like, yeah, I got to get a laugh out of it because you are dealing with some serious medical stuff. So let's get a laugh somehow.
I'll tell you, I was on Dilaudid for a while I was having some, let's just say, surgery in a delicate area. And I'll bet my pastor has some great stories because he happened to be there. And, yeah, the filters were not there.
Hey, Rusty, today I had to go over to Tecumseh to hook up at the Tecumseh Brewing Company. Cheryl used to run a restaurant there, and then, of course, in Manchester. And we get coffee from this company out of Ohio. And I went over to pick up a load of coffee because we love that coffee, which I picked it out years ago. And I was waiting for the delivery driver to show up. And so I went into the restaurant and said, hey, did the delivery guy from Ohio come in yet? Oh, no, not yet. Okay, so I ordered a beer, and I went and sat outside. And one of the former employees came outside. He went in to say hi to people, and he came back out. He goes, hey, Sam. He didn't know my name, but he introduced himself to me. He told me that he OD'd on fentanyl on Friday. He was 42 years old. I go, you aren't going to believe this, man. I just sat out in the parking lot there waiting for this delivery guy, talking with my doctor on a phone appointment. And I told her how crazy fentanyl made me last summer, and I don't ever want to do that again. So I hope you can get clear of that. So drugs are not good sometimes.
Yeah, no kidding, man. That's just scary stuff.
Well, I felt bad for him because he told me he got out of the hospital on Sunday, and he'll never do it again,
Yeah, and see, Dilaudid was the exact opposite to me. I'd do it in a heartbeat, man. I was happy.
Well, the drug that really works is propofol. That's the one, when you wake up, man, you feel great. It was the one I think Michael Jackson did a little too much of. But last summer when I was in the hospital for my big adventure, the fentanyl, I did not do well. I saw a lot of crazy things with that. And my wife kept saying, hey, quit giving them that. Give them this other stuff. And they would do that, and then they'd be okay for a day or two, and then some doctor would come in, well, give them that fentanyl back. And they'd be gooped up again. But, yeah, you got to be careful with it. And so when I think of Greg being funny, yeah, it is sort of funny as long as it's not real serious,
Well, exactly. You got to have an advocate that watches what they're doing because they, and I say they as the medical, group as a whole, sometimes they do stupid things. They don't realize that they're stupid, but they're just seeing their piece of it, and they don't see the greater playing field. And you got to have somebody there that has that continuity and be able to say, wait a minute, have we thought about this?
Well, Cheryl did that for me last summer and many times over the years. But I even remember a number of years ago getting chemo, and, your platelets got to be just right to go in and get the cocktails and all that that they give you. And I can remember one time I got hospitalized, and, when you're in the hospital, like a lot of the people, a lot of the facilities, they want to give you blocking, anything that could cause a clot. They want to reduce your platelets. So I had like really crazy low platelets from getting chemo, but the nursing staff kept wanting to give me more drugs to make my platelets lower. I go, oh, no, I'm not going to take that anymore. And they questioned me, but when I explained it to them, oh, yeah, you're right. And I fortunately was able to advocate, but if I wasn't there, Cheryl probably would have, you know.
Yeah, no, it's totally important to have somebody that knows the score and has the big picture, well in focus. So, well, hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug here. I need to get up and walk my hip around. I'm frustrated about that, but it is getting a little bit better, and hopefully, if I do a little walk around the block right about now, it'll get me ready for tonight. Nights have been long for me lately, so it was a lot of fun though. And Greg, you're just so good at picking the good topics, man. Thanks again. K8CGS with N8XUI WB8VOW 73s.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Rusty. 7-3 to all in the group. N8XUI.
Good night, guys. Vicodin's kicking in, so stomach's starting to feel better. Talk to you guys later. K8CGS clear.
All right, brother. Feel better.
Feel better. And Rusty, get some exercise.
Yeah, 78, you old hippie.
He is a hippie. Good night, all. N8XUI clear.
Are you still here? KA8UGB.
Hey, Andy, Greg here, K8CGS. Or is that Tony?
Yep, that was Tony.
Oh, sorry, Tony. How are you doing?
I think I'm doing okay. I think. I'll wait. When the wife gets home, I'll confirm that.
Well, the net just finished up about 5 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, I was towards the tail end, and I'd heard Art, but I was across the room from the radio and couldn't get to the microphone fast enough. And that guy can move. You know, he's pretty fast for an old guy.
Yeah, gotcha. Boy, you're great signal tonight. You're 25 over here.
Oh, good deal. You know, that's encouraging. Hopefully it sounds good. We're just running the Barefoot Ten-Tech Paragon.
Well, Ten-Tech Tony, you know, you're making the radio re-famous.
Yeah, you know, it's sad, but the truth of the matter is, you know, eventually all these famous radios become a thing of the past. but not as long as I've got one to operate. They may not be making any right now, but these are running good.
Well, it sounds good. Hey, I've got to run and finish this letter, and good to hear your voice again. It's been a while, and you have a good one. It's Greg in Southwest Michigan, just north of you, KACGS.
All right, Greg. Appreciate the comments and the sentiment as well. So we'll catch up with you later. I'll let you get to doing what you're doing. From New Buffalo, Michigan, KUGB.
Good night, Tony.